All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Today we have the big labor report we've been. All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Waiting for. Yeah, I remember setting it to virtually no. Let me make sure. I remember setting the latency pretty low on the stream, and it looks like it's working good. It's a big report today. NFP reports dropping at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. 8:30. W, Scout, Andy, K, Pew, Brian, Ernie, BA, Allen, King, Halo, Steve, Go. What's up, man? All right, guys. Good morning. Yeah, so NASDAQ, you can kind of see it is up today. Up from yesterday. After yesterday, the S&P and the NASDAQ. Yesterday we were mostly flat leading into this report. Day before that we were red, mostly flat day, but slightly green day on the S&P. The QQQ or the NASDAQ dipped a little bit yesterday, and we're back up today. So we're again essentially flat over the last few days. Gold is sitting at 44.82. A lot of stuff is waiting for this report today. Silver, if you look at it, is sitting at 78 right here. So $78 an ounce for silver futures currently. Bitcoin is back over 90,000. So Bitcoin did bounce at 89.5 and continue back up. So Bitcoin is over 90,000 again. Went up to almost 92,000 yesterday before dipping back down, but it is over 91 or 90,000. We'll see if it holds. I'm looking at 90,000 for a support level. Again, the jobs consensus today is for roughly 60 to 70,000 jobs. We also have the big tariff news today. So we have big tariff news as well. They're supposed to rule on the tariff thing at 10 a.m. Eastern time today. So yeah, good news for the tariff. Or not good news, but we got that news coming out at 10 a.m. today. But yeah, looking at like overall market news right now. Pre-market is quiet. Index futures are basically flat, slightly red. Traders are waiting for this NFP print, as well as the unemployment print, as well as the tariff ruling at 10 a.m. So a lot of stuff doesn't know what to do. Crypto, again, around 90,000. Gold and silver slightly higher because of the uncertainty that maybe this report adds. Again, the Supreme Court's opinion session starts at 10 a.m., which is the first window a tariff decision could drop. But they don't pre-announce which cases are in the batch, so markets know the time, but not whether tariffs are actually decided today. So we'll see if they decide tariffs at 10 o'clock today. That is going to be a thing, but we don't know if it actually will, if that makes sense, right? So again, Supreme Court's opinion session starts at 10 a.m. today, which is the first window a tariff decision could drop, but they do not pre-announce which cases are in this batch. And so it might not be in this batch, and we might have to wait. So markets know the time is 10 a.m., but not whether the tariffs are actually going to be decided today and whether we're going to get that ruling. Again, Dow futures flat, S&P and NASDAQ futures flat mostly. Indices hover around record highs, but still, we got NFP today at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to put a timer up, get this ready. You can read the bottom scroller if you want some of the potential info on that. But yeah, we got a little bit over an hour till this goes live. We'll do a poll here on the non-farm payroll report. Does today's NFP report go higher or lower jobs? Is that a good one? Higher or lower payrolls? We'll do another one for unemployment. I saw some people expecting like over 100,000. I see we're mostly expecting 60 to 70K. The other big one is unemployment. You know, they are expecting it to downtick to 4.5%. If we take a look at treasury yields this morning. They're elevated today. They were lower than this yesterday, I think. Yeah, they're elevated today. You can see what they did yesterday and today. So yields have spiked up over the last few days. Right, again, this timer's a little bit early, but it works. Yeah, you can see yields pushed up since yesterday morning. See what happens. Yeah, this is the one thing that could move rate odds. Again, we've had a lot of data earlier this week. We had jolts come in lower than expected. We had ADP data show strong or lower than expected as well, but still they were up month to month in some of these areas. And so, but this is the one that might move rate odds. This one and CPI next week is what might actually move rate odds in like a big way. I still think we're gonna pause this month. I think if you currently look at it, we're still 14% chance of a cut and an 86% chance of a pause this month at the end of this month in January. So it's still looking like we're gonna pause, but again, this payroll report could change this tune a little bit in terms of the Fed, right? So this could change the tune in the Fed's mind. We could see volatility from this report. We could see changes in these odds, bond yields move up and down. And in other news, we did have some news yesterday that basically said the president is going to purchase potentially $200 billion in mortgage bonds. Now, with supply and demand, all that liquidity getting pushed into mortgage bonds is going to influence a lot of stuff and help potentially bring mortgage bonds and mortgage rates down is the goal of this. So just from that increased supply. And so, yeah, the president said late yesterday in a social media post, he directed his representatives to buy $200 billion in mortgage bonds to drive mortgage rates down, monthly payments down, and make the cost of owning a home more affordable, according to him. GM also becomes the latest car maker to write down billions and pivot away from EVs. Amazon says OpenAI is going to spend $38 billion over 7 years on their cloud services, with Amazon potentially investing $10 billion in OpenAI in the $2 trillion AI cloud computing market. ARM significant valuations concerns with the DCF analysis showing 82.6% overvaluation at fair value. Elon announced XAI, $20 billion investment plus for Mississippi data centers with 2 gigawatt capacity, expects February 26 operations. Yeah, it's job report day today, guys. Job report day today. 10 o'clock. Halo is when we should get some updates on the tariffs. 10 o'clock. We should. Now, I don't know if we will. I don't know what that's going to look like, but 10 o'clock today, Eastern time. If we are going to get a decision on tariffs today, it's going to be at around 10 o'clock. Is what it is. And if you look at some of these odds here, especially in terms of like tariffs, I don't know if this would be political. Probably. Let's look. Tariff. Currently, there's only about a 26% chance the Supreme Court rules in favor of the tariffs. Look, so currently, only about a 24% chance, down 1%. So a 24% chance they keep the tariffs. So 3-to-1 odds they keep the tariffs. Or 3-to-1 odds they reverse the tariffs, I mean. Looking at our poll numbers, 35% think higher, 36% think lower, 28% think as expected. Could that trigger a crash? I mean, it could. I'm a little nervous for it just because there's a lot of unknown. It could also trigger like a big move up. I might buy this dip here in the NASDAQ. It's a little risky. Yeah, I'm a little nervous just from the unknowns. We got a NASDAQ contract. We'll buy a couple here. No ruling today. I put money on it. You think they're going to make us wait over the weekend? I don't listen to what you have to say every morning. I feel like I don't know what's going on. Hey, Well, that's what we're here for, brother. That's what we're here for, man. So a higher chance they get rid of him. Yeah, almost a 3-to-1 chance they get rid of him. They're going to find ways to implement tariffs regardless, which is why I'm like, just let it stay. Like, it just... But payrolls are going to be relevant. Unemployment's going to be relevant as well. All right, so we're up. Holds. Yeah, looking at social media here, it's kind of a slow day. OPEC December output is falling by 100,000 barrels per day, month on month, to 28.4 million, which is led by Iran, and Venezuela. Again, I see some people guessing payrolls today are expected to show up at here, I'll put this other timer up here. NFP expected at, what is it today? It's expected at 70,000, 71K is what I looked at last time. 66,000 is, well, some people have it 65K for non-farm payrolls for December. Unemployment. We also have manufacturing payrolls, housing starts, building permits, and more that drop at the same time. But yeah, unemployment expected at 4.5%. Now it's 4.6% last time. I'm just trying to put this up so you guys can see everything. Got a lot of different stuff on the charts. There we go. Yeah, look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, I'm watching Bitcoin at 90,000. We are in this trade. We'll see what happens here. What did I buy yesterday? I think we did really well yesterday, to be honest. And we're up really nicely today also. Silver is up. We did good. We're green on our Home Depot position. We held it long enough. Green on Disney. We're green on Coca-Cola. Green on Meta. Very green on Nike. Green on Oracle. Green on Silver. Green on SoFi. And green on Target. We are red in Hims. We are red in Netflix. And we are red in PayPal. So Venezuela at 600,000 Bitcoin. I gotta find some more hyped up music than this. Yeah, so the U.S. officials are saying they're in the process of seizing a Lena tanker in the Caribbean. All right, let me find some better. Let me. Hey, what's up, Chef? 100,000. Hey, a lot. Will we hear for the courts today on the tariffs? It's a big thing. We don't know though. Okay, so the Supreme Court's opinion session starts at 10 a.m. today Eastern time. Again, it's the first window a tariff decision could drop, right? So it's not guaranteed we're going to get a decision today. It's the first window a tariff decision could drop. But they do not pre-announce which cases are in the batch today. And so there's a chance that we do not get the tariff decision today, and we got to wait over the weekend. We'll see. Again, we'll see. Oh, let me get my new timer up. I forgot about my new timer. All right. Yeah, so there's a chance we're not going to get it today. A lot of people don't, but we will cover it regardless. So we will if we get it. Yeah, so we're going to cover it regardless, but there is a big chance that we don't get it today. Oh, no. Yeah, so there's a chance we don't get it today. I don't know if I want to get it today or not. I really don't. I don't know. We'll see though. We'll see what we get. Sorry, I gotta edit this ticker. I accidentally took it down. And then I gotta add a scroller to it, make it a little bit thinner. I think that's good. I just got to add a scroller to this and then we're done. But yeah, payrolls today, you know, I'll see a lot of people thinking payrolls are going to come in higher than expected. And so I see a lot of people talking about payrolls are going to come in over 100,000. Again, I really don't know. I really genuinely don't know where payrolls are going to show up today. I genuinely don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but I genuinely don't know. We'll see what we look like today. Got that one in. Yeah, I'll have to bookmark it. I got it up. So again, I'm showing most people are expecting 65,000 today. 65,000. Oh, I'm in this trade. It is a challenge account, so it's not going to be the end of the world if we're wrong. I might just double down and add to this. Let's, you know, play with it early this morning. We'll see what that looks like. But yeah, so timing-wise, we have about 56 minutes left until this data releases. 56 minutes left until payrolls come out. Make this one red today. Okay. All right, so we're putting the better timer, the new and improved timer that we have up here. There we go. I'll make it a little bit smaller, and then we got our labor report timer right here. Make it a little bit smaller, actually. There we go. I think that's better. Okay, good. All right, catch it back up in the chat. So yeah, Venezuela apparently has 600,000 bitcoins. Amazon could be a runner today. Again, looking at our poll, 40% think payrolls are going to come in higher. And that's the story that I'm showing mostly in markets, is that payrolls, they think payrolls are going to show up higher than expected. In terms of the oil meeting that they're going to have, Shell, Valero, Marathon, and Eni are supposed to attend the president's meeting, according to an official. And again, the U.S. is currently in the process of seizing the Olena tanker in the Caribbean. The seizure is taking place near Trinidad, according to a U.S. official as well. OPEC Plus December output is again falling by about 100,000 barrels per day. And again, a lot of people are assuming we're going to get over 100,000. Again, gold and silver are up a little bit today, but they have dipped some here. Again, the SPY is technically green. Bitcoin is up over 90,000. Gold and silver are up slightly on the day. Gold sitting around, gold futures at least, they're sitting right around 44.72. Actually, I'm sorry, gold is about red on the day, now that I look at it. Gold is slightly red now. It's kind of pulled back. Look at gold the last few minutes here. So it was green on the day. It's now red on the day. It's down to 44.72s here for gold. Silver's doing a little bit better, I think. Yeah, silver's at 77s. The gold's down. Silver is up on the day. Let me put the live chat up so I can see all these messages. Hey, what's up, Sako? Good morning, man. Yeah, another tanker. Hyperinflation in many countries. Yeah, and again, this report is relevant today, guys, for a lot of reasons. Mainly because We cut rates 3 times last year. We cut rates, I believe, in September, October, and December. So September, October, and December, we cut rates each 25 basis points, 0.75% or 75 basis points, 0.75% last year. Now this is coming. This is on renewed pressure by the president to lower interest rates. He thinks we're too late. He thinks that, he's worried that the labor market is going to turn. And we did see signs last year that the labor market was turning. We saw weak payroll reports. We saw negative numbers for ADP in a lot of areas. We saw corrections and revisions in the previous labor reports that were pretty big, to be honest. We had a big benchmark revision that was like almost 1 million. We had, I think it was April, May, and June, if I remember correctly. It might have just been May and June that was revised down by almost 300,000 jobs last year, right? But since then, we had the government shutdown in November that moved things, and now we're here, and the numbers haven't looked as bad recently. Even when we looked at the ADP numbers, the ADP numbers that came in yesterday, while still lower than expected, were positive. They weren't negative anymore, which is a better sign. Jobless claims numbers came in lower than expected yesterday, which is how many people are filing for unemployment. But there's still risk to the labor market, even with these recent numbers, especially in terms of today, because today's report is the December report. The last payroll reports were for November and October, and some of them, and some of those we didn't get at all. And so because of the shutdown being half of the month or the entire month, the data that we had gotten for payrolls and numbers weren't the most trusted numbers, if that makes sense. And then today's report is going to be kind of the first month where December government was open the entire month. We're finally back to potentially getting some numbers here. And so we'll see what happens there. Yeah, I'm just going to keep adding to this and see if we bounce. This is a combine account, so we'll just wait, I guess. And then today, again, at 10 a.m., we're supposed to potentially, and I say potentially because we don't know which batch the tariff ruling is under, whether it's today's or another day. So we could potentially get the ruling the Supreme Court has on the tariffs at 10 a.m. today, which is another pretty big catalyst. And so just be ready today. We got less than an hour before payrolls and unemployment comes out. We have a few hours until 10 a.m. today when we're supposed to potentially get one of those tariff rulings. And so, yeah, let me know what you guys think. We'll see what happens. And yeah, it'll be interesting. Sure. Do you feel any of these numbers can truly be trusted? I think December's numbers can certainly be trusted more than last month's, for November. I think November the government was shut down half the time. And so, I think December's are more trustworthy than last month's. Yeah, shutdown messed a lot of stuff up as well. Yep, that's right. So in terms of nuclear, Meta's 20-year agreements to buy power from Vistra's Perry and Davis Best plants in Ohio and Beaver Valley plants in Pennsylvania will provide more than 2,600 megawatts of energy. So we have some nuclear stocks, VST and OKLO. I know Money Mitch over there has been talking about these too, so props to him for some of those trades. But again, the news we got earlier is that the U.S. is in the process of seizing the Olena tanker in the Caribbean, according to U.S. officials. If I take a look at some of these here, let me see if I can get an NFP. Again, December data is going to be coming out. Consensus is for 65 to 70. Previously, it was 64,000. Private payrolls are seen at 75K versus 69,000 expected. Unemployment seen at 4.5% versus a previous of 4.6%. And wages, they're thinking are going to go up 0.3% month over month versus 0.1% last time and 3.6% year over year. Yeah, you can kind of see this report here. Here's one of the NFP reports that I'm looking at. And you can kind of see what the analysts are doing here. You can kind of see what the analysts are doing. No. So again, median estimate for non-farm payrolls is at 75K. 75K. TD Securities median estimates at 25,000. So TD thinks we're going to be low. Citigroup 45, Goldman 60,000, Societe Generale 68,000, HSBC 70, UBS 70, Dawa 70, Morgan Stanley 70, Bank of Montreal 75, Barclays 75, Oxford Economics 75, Danske Bank 80,000, Credit Agricole 80,000, BNP 90,000, Wells Fargo 90,000, Capital Economics 90,000, Bank of America 90,000, Santander 95,000, JP Morgan Asset Management 96,000, Deutsche 100,000, and Lloyd's at 105. So these are some big ranges here in terms of the expectations. Like, look how big these ranges are. Unemployment rate is expected to show up at 4.5%. So I want to make sure this is, I don't know why all of these are so low. Let me make sure. Looking at, okay, this is old. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. I want to look at, I was about to say, bro. Here, let me find the right one that I'm looking for. I mean, those are basically what we're expecting today, too, at 75,000 for payrolls. The unemployment one is the wrong one. Here's today's. Sorry, guys. Here's today's. So it's basically the same thing. It's just a little bit more. So 70,000 median estimate. TDS 40, Standard Chartered 50, Deutsche 50, Barclays 50, Bank of Montreal 58, Capital Economics 60, HSBC 65, JP Morgan 67, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs 70, Morgan Stanley 75, Oxford Economics thinks 125, Lloyd's thinks 112, Santander 100,000, UBS 90. And yeah, you can see most people expect the unemployment rate to either stay the same at 4.6% or go down to 4.5%. We also have average hourly earnings month over month. They're expecting this roughly at 0.3 to 0.2% increase. I think previously it was 0.1, if I remember correctly. So let me know what number you guys think we're going to get for payrolls. Large block of calls on Amazon this week, like abnormally large. I think someone knows how this is going to, on tariffs, Amazon would benefit a lot. 4.5 is not super low. It's not super high either. Kind of somewhere in the middle. If we look at the average unemployment, see if I can find a graph. Yeah, so here's unemployment from 1999 to 2024. Right, so this is unemployment from 99 to 2024. You can kind of see 2007 to 2010 during the financial crisis, unemployment spiked to 9%, 8%. 4.5 is right around here. So it depends on how you're looking at it. And when we're not in economic crises, we're at about average, right? 2020's here, 8% unemployment. So it's not necessarily super high, but it's not super low either. Yeah, here, hold on. Yeah, that should fix it. Yeah, 4.5% is unemployment numbers. My friends in a hedge fund said a lot of money is going to be pulled out today. I just sold my Tesla and Nvidia pre-market. I think market will take no momentum. We'll see. Hey, listen, we'll see. It's time. We got 45 minutes. We are now green on this trade. I'm going to take some of this off just for up a lot. All right. We got two. Contracts left. Take one off and then rest here. But again, let me ask the chat, what number do you guys think we're gonna get for payrolls? Put your payroll number that you think we're gonna get out in chat. Again, what I'm showing for the expected number is about 65. Is what I'm showing. About 65 to 70,000 is what's expected today. A lot of people think we're gonna show over 100. Again, in the poll we did this morning, 39% think we're gonna show up higher than 65, 70. 37% think lower. 24% think as expected. Man, look at this trade. I'm gonna go ahead and take profit right here. I think I need to. All right, so we're out. Again, we got 45 minutes left. $60,000, $66,000, $55,000, $78,000. $45,000, $80,000, $220. I don't think we're gonna do 220 here. 220 is kind of a wild number. But maybe Nvidia's making a huge deal with Archer Aviation. Yeah, we caught that really nice bounce there. Again, gold still sitting at 44.70s. Here's silver. Silver's still technically green on the day. Again, gold struggling. Nvidia's up to 185s, but this is after it dropped. You know, Nvidia was at 190s yesterday, and look at this huge drop Nvidia did at the opening bell. So Nvidia's been struggling the last day or two, at least. Yeah, I just don't think there's any way we're gonna show up. I don't think there's any way we're gonna show up at 220,000 payrolls. If we did, I don't know how the market would react either. Again, if we take a look at odds for rates are currently at like 13 or 14% chance of a rate cut. And again, the Fed's job is to maintain balance, right? So they don't want, you know, the Fed does not want too much extremes on either side, you know. And so too strong of a labor market, we can get too bad of inflation. Inflation could spike. Too low of interest rates, we can get inflation spiking. Too much economic stimulus like QE, we could get rate cut, or we could get inflation spiking, and then they'll have to raise rates and push the economy down a little bit to control inflation by raising interest rates, or worse, you know. But if we have too weak of a labor market, they can step in and bring interest rates down and you know, do quantitative easing, which is again when they create online money and then use that to buy. It's money printing. They create online money and then they use that to buy up bonds and other assets with it, injecting liquidity and you know, helps bring interest rates down fast. It's a more desperate decision. But we saw them do it in 2020, 2007, 2008, I think. They also did, I think, in like 2016. The tariff decision could drop at 10 o'clock. I don't know if it's going to. We don't know if the tariff decision is in the batch today, right? So they don't tell us which decisions are in the batch today. That's going to be announced at 10 o'clock. And so it might not, is basically what it is for the tariffs decision. It could not drop at 10 o'clock today. Highest was 8% in that period of time around 2020. Highest is around 8%. Guy. Things always go the opposite of what everybody's thinking. What if the market will rage after the decision today? In terms of what decision? It can be good for gold, Raj, yes. Supreme Court. Yes, the Supreme Court decision. All right, NASDAQ's pumping up this morning here. 25.7s. I'm curious to see if the NASDAQ tests 26,000 as well. Let's draw some levels on my charting here. And I think we obviously got to look at like this low here now. I think we got to look at the peak up here too. Maybe look at yesterday's high. I'm going to round it to like 750. Here's 600. 5 right here, so I'm gonna look at this too. $700s there as well. I think I'm just that. Maybe look at it later. All right, guys. Get Nvidia down to 185. So that 190s at the opening bell yesterday, and then just dumped fast, dropped quickly, didn't hold. Again, currently it's only about a 14% chance that we cut rates this month. But again, if we have like really weak labor data today, that could change the tune of that. So we'll see. Yeah, ECB's Lane did a speech. Again, the U.S. is in the process of seizing the Alina oil tanker in the Caribbean, according to U.S. officials. Unless the labor report is flat, I see it as a lose-lose. If the too high, recession. If too low, no cuts. Yeah, I think the market is kind of in that situation where we don't know what it wants either. You know, I think we could have really weak numbers and market could go up, or we could have really weak numbers and the market could go down. If the market goes down on really weak numbers, that just means it's following convention. If it goes up on weak numbers, then it means it really wants rate cuts and stimulus. I think Bitcoin might react in that way as well, the latter, in terms of Bitcoin wanting stimulus. So like really weak numbers might mean more stimulus, earlier stimulus, and Bitcoin and crypto might move up. Other conventional markets, I'm not quite as sure with that. But again, I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable. If you lose, make your own assessment, trade smart. I can't guarantee anything, but yeah. Again, I'm curious to see what gold and silver do with in the wake of everything going on today as well, with all that stuff. So again, unemployment expected at 4.5%, so it is expected to downtick a little bit relative to what it was last time. That's like 25.7. Yeah, that 250 level is rejecting it a little bit. Again, Nvidia is the hard one to figure out here today, because Nvidia was really high yesterday at the opening bell and then just fell. Like if we take a look at Nvidia, it's kind of leading the market. Nvidia had a rough day at the open yesterday. You can see the opening bell yesterday. Nvidia was basically at 190, fell all the way to 184s yesterday before finally putting in a bottom there. And at 183.70s. And now it's back up a little bit this morning, but not a lot. It's still at 185 when it was at 190 yesterday at the bell. So really weak open yesterday. Again, if you want to see what everybody's expecting, this is basically what everybody's looking at today. For payrolls, unemployment, 4.5, 4.6. Citigroup has it at 4.7%. I think if we get a 4.7 unemployment print, that might move markets as well. The same type of NASDAQ pre-market movement led to a dump yesterday. Maybe, yeah. I mean, today's a little bit more volatile. Yesterday we had jobless claims, which are important, but today's report's the big one. So I don't know, the ADP data, I think you're looking at it the wrong way, Daniel. So I see Daniel say ADP data is wrong. I think you're looking at it the wrong way. Because I think, okay, I'll put it this way. ADP is a payroll processor. And I would say they might be more accurate than the actual government payrolls, right? And so if you look at it one-dimensionally, you might be like, okay, ADP data says this, and then the actual payroll say something else. Again, that's the wrong way to look at it. You got to also question the numbers for the actual ones, because something that we've seen is ADP put out numbers, and then the official data comes out, and it's wildly different from the ADP data. And then later on, a couple months later, they revise the official data to more accurately reflect the ADP data. And so the question is, who's right or wrong in that scenario? You know, if the end result is closer to ADP's versus the original official numbers that eventually get revised to different numbers, I would say ADP data is more accurate than the official numbers. And it would make sense if they are, because the official numbers don't have some of the data that ADP has in terms of payrolls. ADP is a payroll processor. And so, you know, just because the numbers are different from the official data does not mean ADP is wrong, I guess is the overarching point I'm trying to make here. Yeah, I'll be streaming the decision if it goes live at 10 o'clock today. Again, the decision today for the Supreme Court, again, just to write this again, the decision today from the Supreme Court is not guaranteed. The Supreme Court's opinion session starts at 10 a.m. It's the first window a tariff decision could drop. But again, the justices do not pre-announce which cases are in the batch today. And so markets know the time, but not whether the tariffs are actually going to be announced. The ruling on the tariffs is actually going to be announced today. Does that make sense? So like, it could be announced today if it's on today's, if it's in today's batch of announcements. But we won't really know that until 10 a.m. And so it could announce today. It might not, basically, is the point. And, yeah, it's time. Neutral. You think it'll come out January 15th? Where's everybody from in chat right now? Where's everybody from in chat? I see somebody asking, anybody from Europe? You guys want them to reverse the tariffs or keep them? Reverse tariffs or keep them? What do you guys think? Florida, Puerto Rico, New York City, North Carolina, Cleveland, Virginia, Saratoga Springs, Southwest Florida, Missouri, UK, Romania, San Diego, Finland, Alabama. Go Tigers. Sorry, I had to say it. Michigan, Canada. Hey, welcome, guys. We appreciate the love. Thanks so much. All right, so welcome from everybody all across the world. We appreciate it. We appreciate the support. I see the roll tide. It's all right. I would expect you to say that. That's okay. If I was you, I'd probably say it too. All right. Now that we know where everybody's from, keep or reverse the tariffs. You guys think we should keep or reverse them? What do you guys think? Keep or reverse them? All right. So look at the 712 level here. Watch 750s on the NASDAQ. Again, here's NVIDIA, here's silver on the top, here's Bitcoin in the bottom right. Again, NFP data expected at 65 to 70,000. We have 30 minutes left. All right, so looking at this option here, maybe I should do a poll on this after the payrolls come out. Reverse the, okay, I gotta keep scrolling up. All right, so we should keep them, reverse them, keep them, reverse them, keep them, reverse them, keep them, reverse, keep. We're pretty split on the tariffs. Keep, no doubt, keep, reverse, keep. Doesn't matter to me. Keep the tariffs, keep, reverse, keep. Yeah, I mean, we're pretty split, honestly, with everybody. In terms of, again, my only thing, like, right, like, look, I'm not going to get political at all, because I'm not very political as a person. I'm really not. But I think they're going to figure out a way to implement tariffs regardless. And so the question you got to ask is it worth it to reverse the tariffs and then re-implement new ones? Is that good for markets? Is that good for everybody? That's the real question. If they're going to do them anyway, I don't know. That's my take on it. I think the trade war with China is one to avoid. I would like to see a reversal, but I fear market impact of such. Right, that's what I'm saying too. I'm not even saying we should reverse them. I'm just saying I'm curious to see the market's response if we do. You could see both sides, right? Like reversing the tariffs could give you both outcomes, good or bad. Reversing the tariffs, you could say, okay, hey, look, inflation might get better, businesses might have less red tape, and markets might fly from it. Considering the negative impacts the tariff announcement had in April, where markets dumped 20+%, maybe reversing the tariffs might give us the opposite reaction where markets actually move up. And that's a plausible thesis there. You could also get the other side of that, which is that reversing them would cause so much uncertainty with things, especially if we're going to eventually get tariffs either way, that we see negative reactions from a reversal. And again, I think it's really interesting to see what happens because I really don't know. I don't know which way the markets are going to respond. It's difficult to predict. I think at this point in time, a reversal of the tariffs is a 3-1 favorite. And so a reversal of the tariffs is the majority likelihood outcome. And so because of that, I think it's already baked into markets a little bit, and you can see how markets have moved. We'll put the Q up here over the last 15 days. And markets are mostly up over the last week. Hourly chart shows kind of flat numbers. 4-hour chart shows kind of flat numbers since early December. So markets might not know how to interpret this as well here. It's not plausible that markets like a reversal of the tariffs. I mean, I think it could happen. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Silver ripping. So the decision could be at 10 o'clock today, but we don't know if it's in the actual batch of decisions today, and we won't know until 10 o'clock. And so basically, we could get it at 10. We might have to wait longer. All right, guys, this is a big labor report. And again, we have almost 30 minutes left. I set the latency to really, really low on today's stream, like super low on today's stream, so that you'll know as soon as I know, basically. Hit the live button next to the play button, put it in 2x speed. But yeah, we set the latency to very, very low. Unemployment, again, expected at 4.6%. Private payrolls expected at about 70,000. Non-farm payrolls, again, 65 to 70,000. Manufacturing payrolls are expected at -5,000. We also have housing starts for September and building permits for September dropping at 30 as well. So, and then later on at 10 a.m. we do have Michigan consumer sentiment as well as the potential tariff decision. So it's a full day today. We got a lot of stuff to cover. Checking up on the software rate showed up at 3.64% for January 8th yesterday. But the U.S. apparently has now forced board on the Alina oil tanker. Again, so they forced board 5th tanker in campaign to track down Venezuelan oil. Looking at our poll, 41%. The rumblings that I'm hearing in regards to payrolls is that payrolls are going to come in higher than expected. Now, again, these are just rumors that I'm hearing. I don't really know for sure nobody knows what the numbers are going to show up as. What I'm hearing is that they're going to come in higher. Again, I don't know for sure. And again, I've said this once and I'll say it again. I do not think we're going to cut rates this month in January. I just don't think we're going to cut rates in January. I think that it's very unlikely that we cut rates in January. Maybe we do. I just don't think we're going to. So let me know what you guys think. Do we cut rates in January this month or do we pause? I think we're going to pause regardless of what we get today. Unless we get like really, really weak negative numbers and low inflation next week, I think we're pausing this month. Yeah, I'll stay past 10. Again, here's oil. Oil at 58.20s right now. So oil on the day with all the stuff going on is kind of volatile, man. But oil pushed up over the last 3 days here. It's down slightly on the day right now at about 58.25 a barrel for crude. But again, we are ahead of the payroll report today, guys. So essentially what I'm saying is we really don't know what we're going to get today. And sometimes markets are choppy leading into these reports. Right, pause unless we get a crazy payroll or unemployment number, 100%. I think we're going to pause, no rate cut until April. I basically agree with that. I don't think we're going to cut rates until mid-year. A lot of the time they try to cut rates towards the end of the year as well, but it depends on what's going on in markets. But yeah, I just don't think we're going to cut this month. And if you look at even what the Fed minutes report said last week, we had the Fed minutes report, which is like a recap of what they did and why they did what they did. The Fed minutes report essentially said that almost everybody, like they were dissenters in the Fed, so disagreements in terms of what they should do. But almost everybody agreed that we could cut in December and then wait a little while afterwards to see what happens. And so because of that, again, I think it's pretty probable that we're going to pause rates this month. I don't think we're going to cut. Again, and just to give you guys like some understanding about this stuff, right? So we do get okay, yeah. If we get weaker numbers, right? If the labor market is weaker than expected, then the Federal Reserve, they need to be proactive and bring interest rates down, stimulate the economy, help try to revive the labor market, bring the unemployment rate down, so forth and so on, right? If inflation's a risk, and this is what they call their dual mandate. If inflation's a risk, they can, raise interest rates, try to push the economy down a little bit to lower inflation. And so that's their dual mandate. Their job is to keep both of those things within reason. They don't want either one of those things to get crazy. Like they don't want super high inflation. They don't want super weak labor. Their job is to maintain balance between the two. So. Do we need rate cuts, John? I think we cut 0.75% last year. I think we're somewhere in the middle right now in terms of whether we should cut rates again. I think we're somewhere in the middle. I think it depends on what the labor data shows. A lot of stuff was skewed from the shutdown. I think we're somewhere in the middle. It's hard to tell. I think inflation's a risk. And I think, we've already seen like the 2020 period of time. We had lockdowns, we had supply issues, we had all the different stuff that happened in 2020. We had quantitative easing, money printing, like deep money printing, super low interest rate environment to try to save us from like a recession. I'm not mad they did those things to a certain extent, but that is the reason people are still unhappy in regards to prices right now. Inflation right now is at 2.5, 3%, whatever it is. I think it's like 3%. Which is not necessarily good, but it's not going to make people deeply suffer, like, in a bunch of different ways. What people are still unhappy about is in 2022, because of all that hyper stimulus that we did to try to save us from recessions, we had 8-9% plus inflation. And so prices don't go down, they slow down. We're stuck with those prices now. That's why a lot of people are still unhappy. It's not necessarily the 3% inflation that we have now. It's more so the 9+% inflation we got in 2022 from all that economic stimulus that we got. And so the question is, what's the bigger risk right now, labor or inflation? And I think both of them are a problem. I think we're somewhere in the middle. Maybe a lot of people could probably argue we're in stagflation, which is high inflation and weak labor. And I'm not necessarily arguing against that either. Yeah, there's also some arguments about like AI and what that's going to do for the labor market as well. And those are reasonable arguments, I think. I think in regards to AI, artists are in trouble. Editors are in trouble. Writers are certainly in trouble, especially nonfiction writers. Yeah, I mean, I think that's clear. That's obvious. It's really self-evident that those type of sectors are in trouble. Programmers definitely, as a React native JavaScript developer, you know, you're still going to need them, but obviously businesses are going to hire much less of them because they don't need them as much now. I don't know. The rumors that I'm hearing hybrid are for higher than expected payroll numbers today. So I'm hearing rumors of higher numbers here. You know, what the numbers actually be, I don't know, but I'm hearing rumblings of higher numbers here. Yeah, and it's from somebody that taught himself how to program. It's a lot easier. I've said this a bunch already, but it's a lot easier to teach yourself how to program now. Like, bro, I had to search Stack Overflow for hours sometimes to figure out what I was doing wrong. Now I can ask AI. I'll get an answer in about 30 seconds about where my error is in programming, you know? And so, but again, I still think if you look at I think front end is definitely in trouble. Back end a little bit more complex, but I still think it's going to lose jobs in it. But you might gain jobs in other areas. That's the nature of tech evolution. Yeah, silver popping up. It's at 77.63. Here's silver futures right here. Again, the SPY up to 690s. S&P 500 broke 7,000, at least in E-mini futures the other day, but didn't actually hold. It's now at about 69.70s for the S&P. Fed have already made up their mind to keep rates higher for longer. Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to wait a little while at least. Get some data over the next 3 months. What does that do to the markets? What? Yeah, animators definitely in trouble with AI. Hey, they're probably some of the biggest graphic designers. You know, animators. If you can't tell what's AI and what's not because it's so easy to create AI video now that looks real. Yeah. Yeah, if we have weak labor data today, so if we get like drastically lower than expected negative payroll numbers, higher unemployment numbers, anything that shows weakness in labor might mean that we're going to get earlier cuts. Right now, by earlier cuts, I don't necessarily mean this month. I think the odds of a cut this month are going to increase, but I still think we're going to pause this month regardless of what we get, unless we get like deeply negative numbers today, which is unlikely, but it could happen. Higher than expected numbers here could give us less odds that we're going to get cuts this month and less odds that we're going to get earlier cuts this year. You know, because again, if the labor market's not necessarily weak, the Federal Reserve has less incentive and less need to cut interest rates earlier. If that makes sense. And then we got inflation data next week that's interesting and relevant. We'll see what that looks like also. Yeah, 3-4 years ago, we had Will Smith eating spaghetti and, you know, nobody thought it was real. I saw a comparison video of that now, and it looks pretty freaking real. Looked like Will Smith eating spaghetti to me. Bitcoin back up to over 90.5 thousand here, guys. We got 17 minutes. Yeah, I'm going to put you in timeout, Jay. You're just spamming the same thing over and over again. DeepSeek is going to release the next flagship AI model. Speaking of this, I see this news coming out just now about DeepSeek releasing their next flagship AI model with strong coding ability, according to the information coming soon here. Yeah, so again, DeepSeek releasing their next model, AI model version 4 with strong coding ability. Again, guys, what do you expect to get today in chat right now? What do you guys expect the numbers to show up as this morning? Yeah, what DeepSeek, I said it wrong. What DeepSeek did differently is like they figured out how to use less intensive chips to build a efficient AI model, you know? And that made some, you know, honestly, I want to see if Nvidia is gonna fall down on just the news of this coming out, because that did negatively affect Nvidia when DeepSeek came out originally with their efficient model. I was wrong about Bitcoin. I caught 100 by today. Yeah, we're still ahead of the payroll report. I don't think we're going to break 100 today. I hope so, but I don't think so. Had lower than expected NFP numbers today. Thoughts on which way the Supreme Court ruling will go? I think at this point it's a 3-1 chance that they reverse the tariffs today. I don't know if it's going to be today or next week, but, you know, again, 10 a.m. If it is going to be today, it'll be at 10 a.m. Eastern. Look at it. Again, Bitcoin is up a little bit, though. It's at 90.5 thousand now. Yeah, guys, 14 minutes. Yeah, plop. I think you're delayed on the stream. Hit the live button next to the play button. Again, I set the latency to ultra low today. Ultra low. Again, we got non-farm payrolls, unemployment, average hourly earnings. Expected at 0.3%. 0.3% for December. Last time was 0.1%. That's dropping at 8:30 today as well in 13 minutes. 14 minutes. Again, non-farm payrolls expected at 65 to 70,000. Last time they showed up at 64,000. Housing starts also dropping. They're expected at 1.33 million. We could get the tariff decision at 10 a.m. today. I'm curious to see how that will affect markets. Are you guys bullish or bearish on that decision? Let me know if you're bullish or bearish and why. NASDAQ is starting to turn down a little bit here. We did reject at this level I drew on the chart, which is 750s. So we did reject there. Payrolls and modest removal of tariffs could make markets jump. AI will do the same for web apps. Well, yeah, for web apps specifically, it's going to make it a lot easier to create them. I guess the question is, though, if you can create your own app, you need to hire somebody to do it for you now. So I do believe we're going to have an exponential rise in application output, obviously. Right? It's so much easier to produce an application now. Back then, you need to pay somebody thousands of dollars to do it. Now you can do it in 30 minutes, really, in a lot of places. Yeah, no, for sure. My personal favorite thing to do is have the AI walk me through creating it. Simpler. All right, guys, here we go. We got 12 minutes left. 12 minutes left. We got about 1,400 people here already. Let's see what we get. I'm a mobile software engineer, and ChatGPT does 90% of our code. I know, man. Listen, it's changing. And again, I don't like to say it. It's not like I have a... If I had confirmation bias, it would be on the other side, where I would want to believe that, you know, me teaching myself JavaScript and Python and React Native and all this other stuff was justifiable. At this point in time, you know, AI can do it for me real quick, you know. So it's not like I want this to be true. I just think it is. AI is wrong often. Why would we trust it with important things? AI is wrong in querying things. So AI is wrong a lot if you say, hey, what was this thing that happened today? You know, what was the news that happened 30 minutes ago? Especially like recent things. That's where AI is wrong. Programming AI is pretty solid, realistically. And now they have dedicated AI systems for programming. So AI is wrong about some stuff. And I'm not going to say it's never wrong about programming, but yeah, the example I always use is when carriage creators, when people that created carriage, like carriage builders, you know, horse breeders, you know, think about in the early 1900s when the automobile really started picking up. I'm sure they lost a lot of jobs in businesses. That's the nature of technology evolution. How it goes. You know, more jobs were created building cars anyway, but you know, certain sectors struggled, and that's how it goes. Anyways, guys, NASDAQ is very flat ahead of this report. Silver is dipping down pretty quickly here now. Again, DeepSeek is apparently going to release the next flagship AI model version 4 with good coding ability, according to the information. 9 minutes left, guys. Make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed to make sure you're near time, real time on the stream. That to there. Yeah, jobless claims were lower yesterday. We showed up at or what did we show up yesterday? At 208? 208K versus 214,000 expected, so slightly lower. Up about 8,000 from last time, though. Week to week, but still lower than expected. All right, guys, here we go. We got 9 minutes left. Nine minutes. Hit the subscribe button, guys. Do me a favor. Hit the notification bell. Hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. NASDAQ going back up to 750s, but very flat on the day right now. Very flat. Again, here's the SPY. We have silver on the top. We have Bitcoin on the right. Bitcoin over 90.5 thousand. Again, the unemployment number is one to watch today in this report, right? And the reason, like, look, we covered this earlier. But here is the average unemployment rate from 99 to 2024 here. Right, so here's the average unemployment rate. We're currently about here. You know, so we're pretty low in terms of average, but if you take out the economic crisis periods, 2007, 2008, 2009, early 90s, recovering from the 80s craziness and interest rates and inflation, and all the different stuff that happened, we're low, but we're not super low. Unemployment is expected to downtick to 4.5% though. And again, in terms of rate odds, this is what it might change here. Let me refresh this to make sure. Currently only about a 12% chance that we cut interest rates this month, only about 12%. Looking at our poll numbers, we asked people, our payroll is going to come in higher or lower? 43% think higher, 35% think lower, 22% think as expected. Again, the rumors I'm hearing is that we're going to come in higher as well. I don't know for sure. These are just rumors. We could come in lower. And ADP data was lower. Jobless claims and other stuff was lower as well. So, well, the VIX the volatility is going to be pretty light ahead of this report. You know, so the VIX is going to be down just because of the sideways action we get ahead of these reports. All right, guys, we got 7 minutes left. 7 minutes. They're going to cut rates the rest of the year. Nah, they're not. Bitcoin is in a huge head and shoulders pattern. Show quarterly, monthly, weekly. Bitcoin is going to mid 60s. Maybe. Yeah. All right, guys, we have about 6 minutes left. About 6 minutes. My timer is a little bit early there. Which is bullish, higher or lower? I'm not really sure which one is going to be better for markets. I really don't know. Love you. Good day. Yeah, well, the Supreme Court ruling is only going to happen if it's in the batch today. So it might not be in the batch today. So at 10 a.m., we might wait for 10 a.m. for the tariff ruling and then not get anything, right? There's a decent chance of that happening today. So we could get a tariff decision at 10 a.m. It could scare markets and cause volatility, but we might not. Yeah. Yeah, I think we could be in a good as good and a bad as good scenario, or a good as bad, or a good as bad and bad as bad scenario. What I mean by that is we could have higher payroll numbers and stronger numbers, and markets could like that and go up. Or we could have weaker payroll numbers and markets like the odds of earlier cuts and markets go up, right? Or we could get the opposite, where we have bad numbers and the market goes down, or we have good numbers and it means we have less chance of rate cuts and the market goes down, right? So I don't think this one's really easy to interpret in terms of which way the market's going to go. I think generally it's been kind of mixed in terms of reactions. Sometimes these things are buy the rumor, sell the news as well. And so I don't think it's easy to predict. Again, hit the live button next to the play button, put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up to the stream. Ask the magic 8 ball. Yeah, maybe that's right. See. Hey, put it. Where's your... Hey. Yeah. I'm talking to my son. Is 2x speed only for premium now? Hey, bud. I love you, dude. Great day, buddy. I don't know why my son's in a bad mood half the time. No reason to end tariffs. Other countries have tariffs. Yeah, I mean, and I think we're going to implement tariffs regardless. We're going to use different precedents if we get these reversed. So I'm just looking at stability in markets, whether reversing them is going to be good, and I really don't know. Silver's starting to push up. We got 4 minutes left. Okay, yeah, put it in 2x speed. Put it in 2x speed, hit the live button next to the play button. We got 4 minutes left. 2x speed, hit the live button next to the play button. We got 4 minutes left. We also have, again, the Supreme Court, potentially the Supreme Court tariff ruling at 10 a.m. My prediction is good and bad is good for markets. It's an optimistic prediction, but I'm not really against you. I hope you're right, brother. I hope you're right. All right, guys. 3.5 minutes. Again, hit the live button next to the play button. I set the latency to very, very low on this stream. Very, very low latency. So we will see what we get today, but very, very low latency. Currently, the Supreme Court reversing the tariff odds are about 3-1 right now in markets, about 3-1. We'll see what happens there, but about 3-1 odds that the tariffs get reversed at this point in time. Here we go. You guys ready? Again, NASDAQ very flat range ahead of this report. SPY, silver, up a little bit today. Bitcoin up to 90.5, so up a little bit over the last day or two. Getting 2.5 minutes. We got about 2,000 people here already. We got about 2.5 minutes left. Subscribe. We cover all the big data releases. And again, I set the latency to really, really low on the stream. Really, really low. So just be ready. Again, the last unemployment rate was at 4.6%. And non-farm payrolls expected at 65 to 70,000 today. 65 to 70K. All right, here we go, guys. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Need a better song for this, huh? Yeah, there we go. That's good. 4.7 unemployment rate. Yeah, I mean, that might mean earlier cuts. I still don't think we're going to cut this month, but might mean earlier cuts. 1.5 minutes left, chat. Here we go. My coffee's honestly not that strong today. It's kind of weak. I blame Carol, man. I blame Carol. All right, guys, we got 1 minute and 20 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. Again, I set the latency to very, very low on today's stream, so just be ready. Getting everything set up on my end here for payrolls, tariffs, all that stuff. So be ready. Again, non-farm payrolls expected at 64,000, really, or 60 to 70K today. Here we go. You guys ready? This timer's a little bit early. Ignore it. We actually have about 50 seconds left. About 50 seconds left. Again, non-farm payrolls expected at 64K expected. Previous of what did we show last time? Or we showed 64 last time. All right, here we go, guys. 20 seconds, 20 seconds. Again, hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're caught up. Again, unemployment also dropping live at the same time. We have about 10 seconds. 4.5%. Previous was 4.6%. All right, here we go, guys. Here's the report right now. Okay, guys, so housing starts showed up at 1.24. 50,000 non-farm payrolls. 50K non-farm payrolls versus 65 expected. 50K versus 65K expected non-farm payrolls. Unemployment 4.4%. 4.4% unemployment versus 4.5% expected. 4.4% unemployment, 4.5% expected. Again, so stronger than expected economic data today. Stronger than expected. Super low unemployment numbers, and then low payroll data as well. So kind of contradictory things here. 50,000 versus the expected 60, 65, 70,000 expected. Private payroll showed up at 37,000 versus 64,000 expected. Housing starts were weaker than expected as well. Manufacturing payrolls showed up at negative 8,000 versus negative 5,000 expected. But again, unemployment was 4.4% today. 4.4% today for unemployment. 50,000 payrolls for December for non-farm payrolls versus 65 to 70,000 expected. We'll put this data up on screen, but again, lower than expected payrolls, lower than expected unemployment as well. So lower than expected payrolls, lower than expected unemployment. Let me get this out the way. But yeah, lower than expected data today. I'll put the payroll numbers up. We'll put the unemployment up on the screen as well. And then we'll review the rest of the data. So you guys get the data first. But again, unemployment, 4.4% today. 4.4%. Payrolls, non-farm payrolls, 50,000. 50,000. Unemployment, again, 4.4%. 4.4% for unemployment. Versus 4.5 expected and 4.6 last time. So lower than expected unemployment. Lower than expected payroll data here. Let me get this on the screen. Hold on. All right, so we're going to make it on the, put it on the scroller at the bottom. But yeah, we'll review this report pretty soon. All right, so they're now scrolling on the bottom of the screen here, guys. They're now scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Markets are kind of flat from this report, and maybe they're waiting for the Supreme Court decision. But again, lower than expected payrolls, lower than expected unemployment data. Average hourly earnings showed up year over year at 3.8% versus 3.6%, so a little higher than expected average hourly earnings. And then month over month, they were flat at 0.3%. But yeah, again, payroll data showed weaker than expected numbers here. We can show you this actual report. Again, both total non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate changed little in December. The BLS reported today. Employment continued to trend up in food services and drinking places, healthcare, and social assistance. Household survey data, unemployment rate at 4.4%. The number of unemployed people at 7.5 million changed little among the worker groups. The unemployment rate for adult men at 3.9%, adult women at 3.9%, teenagers at 15.7%, whites at 3.8%, blacks at 7.5%, Asians at 3.6%, Hispanics at 4.9%, showed little or no change over the month. The number of people jobless less than 5 weeks edged down to 2.3 million in December. The number of long-term unemployed, those jobless for 27 weeks or more, changed little at 1.9% as well. Non-farm payrolls changed little at 50,000. Employment continued to trend up in food services and drinking places, healthcare, social assistance, retail, trade, lost jobs. Payroll employment rose by 584,000 in 2025, an average monthly gain of 49,000, less than the increase of 2 million in 24. Employment in food services and drinking places continued to trend up in December. Healthcare employment continued its upward trend in December, up 21,000 with a gain of 16,000 jobs in hospitals. Healthcare employment rose by an average of 34,000 per month in 2025, less than the average monthly gain of 56,000 in 2024. Retail lost 25,000 jobs in December. Over the month, employment declined in warehouse clubs, supercenters, and general merchandise retailers, down 19,000, and in food and beverage retailers down 9,000. Electronics and appliance retailers added 5K jobs. Retail trade employment showed little change. Federal government employment was little changed at 2,000 since reaching a peak in January. And so yeah, that's basically the employment report. Silver popping up to 78.5s right now, so 78.5s. And again, just to recap everything here, and again, subscribe. We covered this fast, and we had almost no latency today. You're welcome. But non-farm payrolls, 50,000. Participation rate at 62.4%. Private non-farm payrolls at 37,000. Unemployment rate at 4.4%. Government payrolls at 13,000. Manufacturing payrolls, negative 8,000. And so, yeah, that is the employment report today. Again, stick around. We still have potentially the big Supreme Court decision. Yeah, Bitcoin, I don't know. Bitcoin's kind of unchanged. The NASDAQ is starting to really eat this up, though. Look at the NASDAQ here. Again, the NASDAQ's starting to rise high on this report. Let's try to day trade this maybe a little bit. Don't judge me. I'm trying to day trade it. We'll see what happens. We got a cushion of 350 on the day here, so. Am I crazy for buying high of the days? I don't know. Look at the SPY break highs here as well. Where's the S&P right now? Hold on. Where's the S&P? I want to see about 7,000 on the S&P. We're getting close to it. Again, let's see where yields have gone from this report as well here. Let's see where yields have gone. Here's yields. Yields are down a little bit, I think, from this report, actually. All right, so we're up about 130. Now we're up about 80. Now we're up about 150, 160. I'm going to cut it right there. We might buy a pullback here. But here's yields right now. So yields are up a little bit from this report maybe here. But they're kind of unchanged. Again, so I think at this point in time, we're going to pause this month. I think unemployment rate at 4.4% is basically guaranteeing that. So I think we're going to pause this month. Again, I think the unemployment rate at 4.3% is basically confirming that right now. I think I don't think we're going to cut rates. I don't think the data shows that we need to at this point in time, and we're probably just going to wait now. Yeah, so again, guys, the Supreme Court decision. What do you guys think we should do at this point? Do you guys think we should cut rates, yes or no, this month? Should we cut rates this month, guys? Let me know. Again, job growth continued in food services, healthcare, social assistance, retail, trade, lost jobs. October payrolls were also revised down by 68,000. See, this is what I'm saying. Again, October payrolls revised down by 68,000 to negative 173,000 in October. November was revised down by 8,000 to only plus 56,000 now. Again, unemployment rate at 4.4%, 7.5 million unemployed. Food services and drinking places added 27,000 jobs. Retail trade lost 25,000. So again, they did revise some of the previous ones down. Okay, should we cut rates this month? I asked people. No, yes. No, but I wish we would cut something. It says 10 a.m. Eastern time is the time zone. No, yes. Cut yes. Depends on... Get narrative, yes. Hike rates. I don't think we're going to hike rates. There's zero chance we're going to hike rates. Maybe that's what you want to do, and hiking rates would combat inflation, but I don't think we should still. No cuts, but if tariffs are done, we're winning. Yeah, markets are up from this. I might buy a pullback here as well. Look at the S&P 500 here. I'm watching for 7,000. Look at silver. Silver's up. Bitcoin is up a little bit from this report. The markets have reacted favorably to it. It's not big moves, but it's something green. And again, stick around. We're going to trade the opening bell live, and then we're going to cover the Supreme Court potential decision at 10 a.m. today. All right, guys. Now, I might buy a dip here. Yeah, I might buy a dip. No, we shouldn't, but people don't seem to want to do what's best. How nearly perfect I expect. Cut the cheese. Sounds like a joke I would say, honestly. I'm a dad joke teller. My kids hate me. All right. No, they're lying. Unemployment is super high. Maybe. Yeah, we'll put a timer up for the potential Supreme Court decision as well. But again, labor data showed weaker payrolls than expected. Still positive, though. Unemployment was lower than expected, showing stronger labor data than expected at 4.4 versus 4.5%, previous 4.6%. So again, unemployment data did go down. Markets have reacted positively to this report. Should they react positively to this report? It's Eastern time, guys. Eastern time is the time zone for the tariff decision. 10 a.m. Anytime, I'll put it this way. Anytime you hear me reference the time, it's always market time, which is Eastern. I'm actually in Central time. I'm in Texas right now. I'm from Louisiana. Go Tigers. But I'm in Texas. And so Central time is what I go by in my normal life. But when I reference the time here, it's always Eastern. It's market time. Yeah, so again, let's look at the odds for a rate decision today. Again, yields are kind of unchanged. Last I looked, they were a little bit higher here. Currently, I see it only 12% chance of a cut this month. Now, maybe this is subject to change, and maybe it's just not refreshing yet on my end. But yeah. Our numbers are off. Does anybody pay attention to them? Well, we got 2,000 people here. Some people pay attention to them. I pay attention to them, but I can also acknowledge that sometimes the ADP data is accurate. Yeah, if you're in the US, time is always Eastern time. Yeah, so this is in an hour and 20 minutes, guys. I'll put a timer up here. I got you guys. Hold on. We get a huge Supreme Court tariff ruling. It's going to go live at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Again, 10 a.m. Eastern time for the tariff ruling. Be ready. Stick around. We are going to trade the opening bell live as well. But we do have the big Supreme Court ruling for the tariffs. Best channel on YouTube by far. Stay awesome, man. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. What part of Louisiana? I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Again, go Tigers. Lane's going to bring us there. He might leave after a year to go somewhere else if they offer him enough money. But Lane's going to bring us there, I believe. All right, again, I'm going to put the timer up for you guys. All right, give me a second here, guys. Here we go. All right. How much time we got until we got what? An hour and 11 and a half minutes. All right, there we go. There's a timer for the Supreme Court decision since people are getting upset about the time or whatever. I'm trying to find a good space to put this. NASDAQ has reacted well to this report, though. And again, you can see the data scrolling on the bottom of the screen. There you go. And again, it's not guaranteed that we're going to get the Supreme Court tariff decision. It's really not. Why? Because they don't tell you which cases are in the batch ahead of time. And so there's a chance we get to 10 a.m. today, and then they're like, yo, it's not in the batch. We'll figure it out next week or whatever. And there's a good chance that happens. It's not guaranteed to be today. But again, payroll showed up lower than expected. Payroll showed up lower than expected today. Here's yields. Yields are down from this. They were at 1.8s. They're at 1.7s now. So yields are down a little bit. And yields and interest rates can follow each other. But again, payroll showed up at 50,000 versus 66,000 expected for non-farm payrolls. U6 unemployment rate 8.4%, which is lower than the 8.7% last time. Unemployment rate for December 4.4 versus 4.5% expected, 4.6% last time. Although last time was revised actually down to 4.5% as well. And so last time was not 4.6%. Now it's revised down to 4.5%. Unemployment rate at 4.4%. Private payrolls for non-farm showed 37,000. Participation rate was 62.4. And again, the S&P, NASDAQ, silver. What's gold doing here? Here's the SPY. SPY is up. Gold is up. Markets have so far reacted positively to this, probably on the lower unemployment rate than expected. Google been going crazy, though, at 329s. I mean, the report was mixed. Unemployment was low, payrolls were low, which is kind of mixed, but payrolls were still strong enough, close enough to the expected number. It wasn't like a huge miss for payrolls, and unemployment was low, and they revised the last one down as well. Although they did revise non-farm payrolls for November down as well. So lower unemployment means inflation risks, interest rate stalls, bearish for metals. Why are they down? Because the opposite thing happened in payrolls. Meaning payrolls were lower than expected. They also revised November data down a very large amount. They revised November data down. October payrolls were revised down by 68,000 to negative 173,000 for October. November was revised down by 8,000. And so the opposite thing happened in payrolls versus unemployment. Payrolls showed weaker than expected numbers for jobs, which means a higher chance of rate cuts, which means, you got to look at it that way, which means less inflation. So it just depends on how you're looking at it. Bitcoin's not moving. Yeah, Bitcoin's kind of flat from it. NASDAQ, S&P. Bitcoin wants easing, so the Bitcoin dynamic's a little bit clearer and easier to gauge. Why? Because Bitcoin wants easing, right? Bitcoin wants stimulus. They want money printing. They want easing. And so lower unemployment might argue against that. And so it's kind of neutral. And again, we had mixed numbers. We had weaker jobs data, but lower unemployment. So contradictory data, some would say. Yeah, November's unemployment rate was also revised down from 4.6 to 4.5% as well. Yep. Again, Fed is expected to pause rates. I told you guys, I don't think we're going to change unless we get super low inflation next week for CPI inflation. I do not think we're going to cut rates this month. I told you guys before this report as well, I do not think we're going to cut rates this month. I don't think that's happening. I think we're going to pause rates. I'm in New York now, but I've lived in Shreveport. Shreveport's nice. It's kind of far. Like, I'm from Baton Rouge, so I'm like, what, hours away from there. I'm in Houston now, but Shreveport's nice. Been there. A little bit of different. I'm in South Louisiana, so. Again, are you guys happy or mad? I wouldn't say mad. Are you guys happy or disappointed from this report? You guys think it was a good or bad report? You know what you guys think? You guys believe this report? You guys think it's accurate? Hey, nice, Cyril. Okay, good job. Louisianians are always good. You listen to Boosie? Yeah, I'd have my whole life. Everybody from Baton Rouge listens to Lil Boosie. At least they have. I'm old though. But yeah, Boosie and Webby, staples of music growing up. Everybody in Baton Rouge is the same. Doesn't matter if you're from the suburbs or if you're from, not the suburbs. You're gonna listen to Lil Boosie in Louisiana. They play Lil Boosie at LSU games. Everybody's listening. Anyways, Google at 328s right now. Google at 328s. Silver, again, is elevated slightly from this report. The SPY is at 692s. Again, we have 10 minutes until the top of the hour. 10 minutes. Too much contradictions? Yeah, I mean, look, unemployment came in low, but labor was weaker than expected. The thing you have to understand is this is all it's contradictory, kind of, but you have to understand, like, like the payroll data is relative to expectations, and so a lot of people are going to call this report flat, and I can't really argue against that. So again, you got to understand it's relative to expectations, right? So we still gained 50,000 jobs in payrolls, which is not necessarily high, but it's not really like crazy low and negative either. And so 50,000 job gains, kind of a flat report. Now, relative to expectations, it was down slightly, but unemployment was also down slightly versus what it was expected to show up as. And so that's the contradiction there. But again, it's all relative to expectations. The Dirty South. I'm on Wipe Me Down. Fox. Everybody knows that too. Again, everybody from Baton Rouge knows this stuff. Doesn't matter if you're... My dad might not, though. People who haven't bought physical silver yet probably won't be able to get it in any quantity. Yeah, I mean, silver's wild, though. I don't know. I disagree. I think pawn shops have some silver right now. I think people are selling their silver at these crazy high prices. I mean, I think you can find silver right now if you want. Yeah, so the jobs report didn't say much new. Basically, as expected, Fed cuts might happen this year, but I don't think, again, they're going to happen in January, guys. Again, Fed expected to... Lindsay Rosner at Goldman Sachs Asset Management says the labor market is stabilizing. And I do see stabilization in the labor market as well, especially relative to, like, quarter 3, quarter 4 of last year. We saw some really big weaknesses. We're still getting revisions, though, on the official data. If you guys saw, October was revised down by like 70,000 jobs. November was revised down by 8,000 jobs. So we're still getting revisions, but we do see some stabilization relative to what we saw quarter 3, quarter 4 of last year in the labor market. So maybe more optimism there in that context, but yeah. Neutral. Fake, good. Chops are running out of silver too. Yeah. 5 kilo brick of silver when she passed. That's a good thing to pass on. Got silver in the forks. Is data good for higher prices? Not necessarily. We'll see what CPI... Look, the next main event, outside of the Supreme Court decision today, the next main event is going to be next week's CPI inflation report. That's going to be huge. Yeah, I'm from the South and I eat terribly. I'm from Louisiana, though, so I eat fried foods a lot. My wife gets mad at me because I eat burgers and, you know, fried foods from fried Cajun food or whatever. It's hard not to. I like barbecue. I like brisket. Give me some brisket. You know? Rebalancing taking place from silver from the 8th to the 14th. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it affects it. Again, at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, in about an hour and 6 minutes, we might potentially get the Supreme Court tariff decision at 10 o'clock today. So again, at 10 a.m. today, we potentially get the Supreme Court tariff decision, and I don't know what it's going to look like. Again, I genuinely do not know what the Supreme Court tariff decision is going to look like if we get it today at all. We might not get it today. We might wait until 10 a.m. and tension builds up, and then they might just announce, hey, look, it's not in the batch today. We'll get it next week. Yeah, I see nuclear stocks running. I do see that. Yeah, I'm gonna make fun of myself for a second. I thought gold was a short at 2,000. I thought GameStop was a short at $4. You know, shame me for this, guys, because I deserve it. Now gold is almost 5,000. I didn't think gold was short long term at 2,000. I thought at 2,000 gold had been uptrending for a decade at that point in time. And so GameStop, I think, you know, I'm not going to go into that, but I actually made money long on GameStop. I bandwagoned, jumped on that thing so fast. I like gold long term. I think gold long term, if we're talking multiple decades, obviously, not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Half the time I have no idea what I'm talking about, like calling gold short at 2000. But I think long term, gold's obviously a pretty good asset to hold if you look at history of it. Silver too. But short term, gold can downtrend for a decade if it needs to. And so because of that, the higher the chart gets, the more risks of a long-term downtrend is what it is. If you look at a long-term gold chart, you can kind of see this dynamic here. It's a little different now with precious metals and other things though. But again, gold, if you look at a weekly chart, here's 2000 right here. And again, at that point in time, gold had been uptrending since like 2013, 2014. You know, see the big run it made in the 2000s as well. But we certainly deepened up in terms of the angle here on the upside. So yeah, so again, the tariff news is going to be the next big thing today. Do you guys think they'll reverse or keep the tariffs? What do you guys think? Reversal or keep the tariffs? Again, I'm going to say this once, I'll say it again, guys. The prices we're currently experiencing right now, a lot of them are due to the 2020 situation from lockdowns, stimulus checks, quantitative easing, super low interest rate environment, supply chain problems. Again, 2022 inflation was 9+%. And prices don't go down, they slow down really. And so we're still dealing with those prices, right? And so, you know, again, we can look at 3% inflation right now and try to blame that current 3% percentage. Or we could look at the whole story, which is 2020 caused problems. Ultra stimulus environment of 2020 caused problems. Now, again, I'm saying this, but if they didn't lower interest rates, they didn't do quantitative easing, they didn't do all the stuff that they did in 2020 to try to save us from recession or depression, people would be ultra critical of them too. They'd say, hey, you're just sitting around not doing anything. You know, so it's not that easy. But that's the reason that's the reason a lot of people are unhappy in regards to price. All right, it's from 2020, 5 years ago. Again, 3 years ago, 2022, 4 years ago now. I keep forgetting it's 2026. But again, inflation was 9+%. If you look at a CPI inflation graph here, if you look at a CPI inflation graph, again, here's 2022. Here's 10% right here, 10% inflation. And so, again, the ultra easing we did to save us from what happened caused inflation. You know, then the Fed raised rates like 400 or 500 basis points and pushed the economy down a little bit. They raised rates for a while, they paused rates for a year, and then eventually inflation started to slow to around 3% where we are now. But again, this does not mean prices fall. This does not mean prices literally go down. This means prices slow down. This line is when prices literally go down. And the last time that really happened for any extended period of time was in 2007 and 2008. Depression or recession, I should say. And so the point I'm trying to make is that we are still stuck with these big price increases that we got following 2020. That's why inflation is still a problem in a lot of people's minds. That's why things are unaffordable now, is because of all that stuff that happened then. Yeah, silver's used in technology, right? So a lot of the time there's an incentive to keep silver down. But it's not perfect. The market has already absorbed the idea of tariffs last year. Look at the dip. Yeah, I mean, I think there's risks too. All right, again, keep, no clue, reverse, reverse, keep, reverse, keep. Yeah, we're streaming the tariff news. Which is worse for markets to reverse or keep them? I don't know, man. I think this one's hard to tell. I think you could look at it in two different ways. Like I said earlier, you could look at it in terms of reversal would restart the volatility and we'd start to see more tariffs and using different precedents. But maybe less of them over time. And so that might create optimism from cheaper prices, less red tape in business, and make markets go up. Or people could see it as an uncertain catalyst, like catalyst causing uncertainty. And so either way, to be honest, I think gold and silver might be interesting. Either way it happens. Regardless of which way the markets go, I think gold and silver might be interesting. But we'll see. Again, we'll see. Not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. Make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything, guys. Don't copy me. But yeah. At this point, it's a 301 favorite that the courts are going to reverse the tariffs, Eric. But at this point in time, it's like 25 to 30% likely that the Supreme Court reverse, or it's a 70 to 80% likelihood that the Supreme Court reverses the tariffs at this point. All right, guys, get ready. We're gonna day trade the opening bell live, so we will see what we get. Yeah. JP Morgan Chase says the January data is hopeful. Crypto. JP Morgan is hopeful as crypto exchange traded fund outflows seem to be very. Again, effective federal funds rate at 3.64%. I'm curious to see where this is gone. Yields are back up. Yields are kind of flat on this report, to be honest. They're not really moving a ton. Like, here's yields. They're going up and down, but they're net flat, really, from this report. We're at about 4.19% this morning, the last time I looked at it. If we take a look at the odds for rates, last time they were, what, 12%? Last time I looked at them? Early, only about a 5% chance of a cut. Yeah, like I said, I think we're going to pause this month. I've said it a bunch, but I think we're going to pause this month. We're only at 5% chance of a cut this month. I almost took the poly market bet, bro. The poly market bet had it like 10% chance that we cut. I almost took it. I should have maybe. But NASDAQ is reacting well to this. Look at the NASDAQ push. 812s. Curious to see about 26,000 maybe. The goat, John. Hey, thank you, Demetrius. Appreciate it, bro. When's the Supreme Court decision regarding the tariffs? It's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern time, potentially today. It might not be today at all. Again, to understand this, guys, Supreme Court opinion session starts at 10 a.m. Eastern. It's the first window we could see a tariff decision come out, but the justices do not pre-announce which cases are in the current batch for today. Meaning, markets know the time of 10 a.m., but not whether or not we're actually going to get the tariff decision today. If it's not in the batch, we're not going to get it today. So I hope that makes sense, right? So we could get it today. It's not a guarantee, though. All right, we got a timer up here. We got 50. My timer that off? Does that say 51 minutes? It does say 51. Dude, how did I get the time this wrong? Wish it let me change the time here. Hold on. Yeah, because we have like, what, 55.5 minutes left? There we go. Make it a little bit smaller. All right, guys. Again, we get a bullish or bearish open today. VIX is down 2.5%. Yeah, I mean, that's because markets are up. VIX is going to go down when markets are up, and VIX is going to go up when markets are down. Volatility rises on downward pressure. So, Or the odds we get it today, I don't know. Alright, so let me check. Let me see what the odds could be. There's a real chance of Tariff ruling today, but no one can pin odds precisely. The court has only signaled that today is the first possible opinion day, not the Tariff case is definitely in the batch. And so again, court is scheduled to release one or more opinions at 10 a.m. Eastern time today. The first opinion day of the term, and the Tariff case is eligible, so a ruling could come. But again, the Supreme Court never pre-announces which cases are going to be decided. There's no official probability, and media and analysts are treating a Friday ruling as possible to likely, but also emphasize it could slip to a later opinion day if the draft is not ready. Is what I'm showing. Yeah, look at gold here. Here's silver. Bitcoin's still over 90, but it's at 90.4s now. Wait, here, let me do another poll. What's a good poll? Are you for or against Supreme Court reversing tariffs? That's the question on the poll now. Are you for or against the Supreme Court reversing the tariffs? Get a vote on the poll. Let me know what you guys think. We are going to trade the opening bell live at 23 minutes. All right, guys. I'll hope the Supreme Court rules that the taxes are illegal. Something's got to give. Broker expects major market correction possible with tariff news. They're giving me 20x more margin. You're sitting pretty high, could be down either way. Weibo announced intraday margin will go up. They know something. Right, looking at our poll, 56% are for the Supreme Court reversing the tariffs, 45% are against it. Again, give me a follow on x.com at Beginner Trades. We cover all this stuff live as we speak. Give me a follow at Beginner Trades. I'll put the link up if you want to help support the channel. There's the link right there. Give me a follow. We cover all this stuff, including payrolls. We reported that too as soon as it dropped. Again, we have it set to no latency, so subscribe on this channel too if you haven't already. We appreciate it. Your heart flutters when you trade. You should lower risk. Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, I think everybody's heart's going to flutter a little bit. We could say, oh, don't be emotional at all, but it's inevitable to a certain extent. But if it's too much where you can't think or reason, then yeah, lower your size, scale down your size. Hey, thank you, Lewis. Appreciate it, bro. Bitcoin falling down. Yeah, Bitcoin down to 90.2s right now. Under 90.4s, 90.5s. Thank you for all the streams. Opening bell gold drops back up. It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, I think with the tariff ruling, that's when it's gonna get real interesting. Okay, so the Alina tanker seized by the U.S. departed Venezuela, according to Venezuela. Bull or bear for the open, guys? Let me know. Bull or bear? Silver's already showing a bit of a double top reversal. Bull. Bear, bull, bull, neutral, bull. Mostly bulls today in chat. I mean, the market's bullish. Bitcoin's falling now. Silver's ripping up. Bitcoin's falling down to 90s. Let's watch 90,000 here. 90K is right here on Bitcoin. Let's see what happens there. Yeah, where's Bitcoin gonna fall? Amazon Pharmacy to collaborate with Weight Watchers. Okay, so Hassett apparently is speaking right now. He praises productivity in the U.S. economy. Productivity through the roof. Heck of a lot of economic growth. Doesn't necessarily mean huge job growth, according to a CNBC interview. He said, yeah, productivity through the roof. Heck of a lot of economic growth. Doesn't necessarily mean huge job growth, according to CNBC. And this is the White House senior advisor, Hassett. Bond market does not believe the report. Yeah, I mean, if you look at yields right now, we're down a little bit on this report. Probably the lower unemployment rate causing these drops. But it's kind of neutral. It's not really like a wild changing here. Maybe I'll buy this dip. Try. But look at this turn. Gotta be on Hassett here. So we bought the dip. We'll add a little bit to the 200 exponential. See if we retrace. Here we go. We're green. Take half of that off. In case we keep dropping. Flat. Now we're green. What's Hassett saying taking the market here? Hold on. Japan's Takaishi considers dissolving lower house. Hassett says economy is ramping up. And productivity through the roof. Heck of a lot of economic growth. Doesn't necessarily mean huge job growth. I don't know if I want to cover this or what here. Kind of flat on the trade net. We took profit already, but now we're down on this. Now we're green. There we go. There we go. I'm going to cut it right there. That bounce. Look at the 200 EMA again, man. Just such an easy bounce level sometimes. Again, Hassett says was in the Oval Office with Trump last night talking about GDP growth. Yeah, so we bounced at the 200 exponential right around 750. Let's see if we hold. It's like GoldenEye music. Sounds like GoldenEye music almost. EMA works, man. I'm just saying. I'm not going to say it works every time. I'm not an investment professional, guys. I'm not liable. If you lose money, make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Again, if you want to check out Top Step, I'll put the link up. Great way to help support the channel. No PDT rule in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, gold, commodities. Here's the link. Check it out. Pin it to the top. But they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. Can't guarantee anything. Confirm it all with them. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Appreciate all the follows on X. Again, Hassett's still speaking. He says we have high growth without accelerated inflation. Again, we have high growth without accelerated inflation. I'll post some of these in chat. I do not like the 200. You got to look at the 200 on a 1-minute chart. Like, look, here's the 200 exponential just to put this into perspective. Right? It's not perfect. But the blue line right here on my chart is the 200 EMA. I had this level drawn too, but not perfect though. Nothing works 100% of the time. But I think if you look at the 200 exponential on the upside and downside, it's really natural pivot. Look, here's a better example of it. Look, 200 exponential on a 1 minute chart. I think algorithms use it on a 1 minute chart is why it works so well there. Here. Underneath it's here. Pivot points, look. Do the 200 EMA again. So again, I love it with my charting. Not the only end all be all one, but it works a lot. Yeah, well, a lot of Fed members that are vying for potentially the Fed chairman job. Hassett says if we don't win in the Supreme Court on tariffs, there are other tools we can use to get to the same place. Again, we have high growth without accelerated inflation, according to Hassett. Yeah, for sure, D. That 200 works both ways, magnet and a bounce when you get there. Yeah, I mean, all technical trading, you got to understand, all technical trading is based off of, or they're all self-fulfilling, meaning they work because people think they work. So what does that mean? I mean, sometimes the simplest ones work and the super complicated ones, again, I said this before, sometimes you'll see people just drawing all these lines on their chart, kind of going crazy like this and this and this and this. Their charts look like this. Yeah. And like, you can't even focus, it's too complicated. Technicals work because people think they work. What does that mean? Find the simplest things. 200 exponential, whole dollar numbers, big milestone levels, isolated levels up here that are really obvious that you can see. You know, that's what works the best for me. But again, it's subjective. People are different. I'm sure there's other stuff that I don't use that people work for sure. You guys are not listening. Like I said, Bitcoin will drop under 80 and then take out 74. I mean, to be fair, you're just some random dude in my chat room. I think if I would listen to you, it would be like a bad decision, you know? Like if I listened to every random person in my chat that told me something crazy, you know how many people told me the stock market would crash over the past 5+ years? Like, bro, every other day somebody's telling me the market's gonna crash, brother. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Again, you might be right. I really don't know, but I'm not going to listen to you because you're just some random dude in my chat room. You're not random? Okay. I guess you're not random. 10 a.m. we might get the tariff news. At the very least, at 10 a.m. we're going to get news on whether they're going to put out the decision today or not. Right, so at 10 o'clock today, we're going to get the news. It might not be in the batch today, though. So at 10 a.m., we might wait. And then at 10 a.m., they say, hey, it's not in the batch today. And we're going to have to wait until next week. And so we could get a tariff decision at 10 a.m. We might not, but we could. Listen, I love all you guys. You guys are my internet friends here. All right. It's all love here. Y'all are my internet friends today. Okay. You're not random at all. You're my internet friends. All right. But you're also the top 3 most random people in the world. So cheers to you. Yeah, I trade single stocks as well. I don't trade options. I don't trade single stock options. All right, guys. Nasdaq's starting to fall down here. We're now under the 200 exponential. Let's see if we. Sometimes I'll use this as a break-even level and then short this. I don't know. I think we're getting close to the opening bell though. John, ever listen to me even if I tell you to? I'm assuming you mean don't ever listen to me if I tell you to. I have zero clue anyone that listens to me. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I feel. Not starting crap. I'm trying to help. Look, I get it, Trance. I'm not mad at you for giving your predictions. As long as you don't get mad, people don't follow them. All right, I have a very simple rule here on this channel. And again, it's all love. Like, you can give your predictions. You might be right. I don't know. But my simple rule is you can give predictions. You can give bias stuff. You can do all this stuff. As long as you don't get mad, people don't listen. That's not a reasonable thing. Like, you can give stuff out, but if you start getting mad that people aren't listening, you know, you're conditioning people to do wrong things, like listen to randoms. Stop yelling at me, Trance. Stop it. You're yelling at me, bro. Come on. Hurt my ears, man. All right, guys. The SPY is down to 690s. Silver starting to push up again. Bitcoin up to 90.4 thousand. You're the top 3 maddest right now, Chance. Have a good one, brother. Yeah, you too, man. All right, guys. Yeah, again, Hassett says if the administration doesn't win the tariff decision, there will be other tools that they can utilize to reach their goals via CNBC. Again, Japan's prime minister is considering dissolving the lower house. Lower house election is likely going to be in early or mid-February, according to Bloomberg. Reversing tariffs will crash the market, maybe. All right, guys. Hey, we're going to be day trading live in 8 minutes. Beat that doom and gloom drop. I mean, listen, drop. I lived through 1999 and 2000 New Year's, okay? I also lived through 2012. And so, I mean, everybody thinks the world's going to end in their generation. I mean, obviously it hasn't yet. So. Yeah, so let's see the tariff decision. Again, Polymarket had it last time I checked at 20 to 30% chance. Again, 20 to 30% chance. Yo, NASDAQ is falling down as we speak here. Is Polymarket down for you guys? Is that what you're trying to say? Oh no, okay, I got it. I don't even see the tariff decision. Where'd it go? Okay, Supreme Court rules in favor of the tariffs. Yeah, currently there's a 26% chance they reverse the tariffs. Or no, I'm sorry, 26% chance. 3 out of 4 think that they're going to reverse the tariffs today, roughly. Currently a 26% chance they keep the tariffs. And again, maybe we'll find out at 10 a.m. Maybe that's what the market's getting baked into right now, or it could just be Hassett still speaking, talking about how great things are, about how we need to cut. Hassett says, we'll see what the president thinks about where we should be. Hassett says the president is going to announce big comprehensive housing plan. Again, says if we don't win the Supreme Court on tariffs, there are other tools we can use to get to the same place. All right, so apparently U.S. forces have also intercepted another sanctioned oil tanker in the Caribbean Sea, according to U.S. military. Hassett also said there's a high level of confidence that the Supreme Court will side with the president. If we don't win, there are other tools we can use to get to the same place. Let me look at Kalshi. Yeah, Kalshi has it at a 28.6% chance. The Supreme Court rules in favor of the president's tariffs. So, yeah. That's right, DAZ. You know what I'm saying here. Get it? I get it, man. It's not like I want the world to. I got kids, man. I got 2 kids. I don't want the world to end. All right, Bassett says that Argentina has fully repaid its drawdown on the swap facility. Again, he said if the admin doesn't win the tariff ruling, that there will be other tools that they can utilize to reach the same goals. And CNBC. Looking at our poll, 55% are for the Supreme Court reversing the tariffs. 45% are against it. Again, Besson also says Milei continues to deliver with full force. Argentina has both quickly and fully repaid its limited draw on the swap facility with the U.S. People being so emotional, does poly market make sense? I don't know if it makes sense. I think it just shows kind of what groupthink is right now regarding something. It's the same thing that the Fed Watch tool shows in terms of yields and interest rates, right? This just shows what people think is going to happen. And most of the time, like when you get so many different people putting in their 2 cents to stuff like this, it can be pretty accurate. Now, poly market is different. I'm not really sure there, but new all-time high today, surely. Yeah, I mean, the S&P could break 7,000. Here's the S&P right now. It went up to $10 away. It's kind of dipped down. We're pretty flat ahead of this. I think a lot of markets are pricing this in right now and what we might get for the Supreme Court tariff decision. Yeah, I think so as well, Daniel. I think right now markets are just apprehensive to take big size. And so we see kind of sideways. But yeah. 700. All right, guys, 3 minutes until the opening bell. 3 minutes. All right, guys, Bitcoin rebounding back up. All right, guys, opening bell in about 2 minutes here. 2 minutes. Bull or bear for the open? Let's see what we get. Yeah, 10 a.m. should be fun. All right, guys, here we go. So much stuff happened today, though, man. It really is kind of a wild day. We had payrolls. The last 3 days have been interesting. We had payrolls. We got the tariff ruling at 10 more, so volatility might be here. We'll see if we get any good stuff. All right, guys. So again, we are right here at the opening bell, and it could be a volatile 45 minutes from here. So let's see what we get. Bassett's still speaking. It says Exchange Stabilization Fund does not hold pesos now. Again, Supreme Court ruling on tariffs is expected as soon as today. 74% chance as of now. Tariffs being ruled illegal according to Polymarket. Guys, ready? Here we go. 10 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it at 2x speed. We almost have no latency today as well. All right, there's the opening bell, guys. Let's see what we get today. We're going to be watching the S&P, NASDAQ, E-mini, silver, gold, SPY, Bitcoin, So far, some downward pressure ahead of this, but again, I'm curious to see what kind of action we're getting. We might not get much, or we might get a lot. It's hard to tell. VIX is moving up a little bit the last few minutes for sure. Lots of red coming. We got some red since the opening bell. All right, look at this red at the open here. So we are seeing some breakdowns here. Here's the S&P, the SPY up. Silver pulling back a little bit as well here. I'm going to let things stabilize first. We're about a minute into the open, but I got to let things stabilize first. Again, 25,660s here. All right, we're at 670s right now. We have broken down slightly, but it's not a lot. VIX is elevated a little bit right now, too. First move's the wrong move. I definitely seeing red since the opening bell. Bitcoin is down too. Look at Bitcoin fall here. Hundreds? Yeah, maybe. Maybe it holds. Yeah. Apple might be interesting regarding the tariff as well, of course. We'll see. Still dipping down here on the NASDAQ. I gotta wait a couple minutes to trade first, but yeah, we got the big tariff ruling. 10 o'clock. We got this big tariff ruling. Yeah, 600 seems relevant. I like 600, whole dollar number right here. Buy is very flat. Bitcoin's falling down though at 90.2 thousand. Silver's dipping down to $78 as well. Apple's pushing up again, maybe potentially because the tariffs could get reversed, which is more optimistic for Apple. Of course, they sell things and they produce things overseas. Yeah, I'm just covering the news, Vincent. It's not like I want Bitcoin to go down. I'm just dropping at the open. 90K might hold it up though. I'd like to see 90,000 support it. Buy moving up a little bit. $88,000 Bitcoin sued. Yeah, so again, just to give you guys some understanding into this tariff decision today. All right, so there's no live video, no live audio streams for the opinions. Each case is announced. The slip opinion PDF is posted to the Supreme Court's opinion page within minutes. Again, so we're going to look at it. So there's no video to watch, but we're going to watch for the decision. Again, so you can look for the vote being split or the holding in one sentence. Like an example is the court rules the president exceeded authority under IEEA tariffs invalid, or the opposite. Again, the president's emergency tariff powers are all relevant here. Potential impact on trade, inflation, sectors in the market is, we could see some movement here. But again, it's not guaranteed. If it's not in the batch today, we might not get that data today. It could be as early as today, but it also might not be at 10 o'clock today in 25 minutes. So again, we'll see. All right, guys. Yeah, so again, reporters are actually calling for live streaming opinions here. We are bouncing higher. I would short it if I would have caught it right here at 712s, but I didn't quite catch it there. I'm gonna wait a second here. Silver bouncing up higher as well. Bitcoin still falling down close to 90,000 again today. So again, we're here. If we can maybe some right here, add a little bit to it if we pop higher. I'm gonna keep it here. Got a big enough cushion on the day where we can try to take this, but gotta be careful. Go. I want to double this and add to it. Maybe right here. Almost green. Every time we get up there, it looks like we're going to break, and then we just kind of reject it. Take half off right there, and then see if we can maybe add to it if it does go in my favor. Yeah, so again, the next Friday is a possibility right now for if the tariff ruling does not come out today, we could get it next Friday. Apple's now flushing down here. Look at Apple right now. Could add to this. This is a combine account, so I might. It's still what, 7 minutes today. I'm just gonna swing for this, and if I fail it, we're gonna switch to a funded account and play that. I want to see if we reject the 200 EMA. Yeah, again, it was a combine account. We'll be all right. We'll switch to our actual funded account now. Probably though, I don't want to trade. The big move up though. Let's see what it's from. Bitcoin up to 90.5 again. Yeah, so I'm reading updates. Hello, all legal journalists here from India. A lot of journalists are keenly awaiting updates from the Supreme Court. We got a couple different sources that we're using right now to show this. Bear with me here. We still have 22 minutes left. What a pop here, though, in markets. And China reaffirms support for Venezuela. They say it values its relationship with Venezuela, will continue close communications and cooperations with its government. Beijing reaffirmed its support for sovereignty, security, lawful rights, adding that its commitment to deepening practical cooperation and shared development will remain unchanged regardless of political developments. Yeah, Venezuela rumored to have 60 billion in Bitcoin. So we're now back over the 200 EMA here. Yeah, I see somebody saying it's typical to have an opinion hand down days on Fridays. I seem to recall opinions being issued not on Friday unless it's time sensitive, which would suggest to me that in this case is one where getting the opinion out is time sensitive. May the bear be with you. Yeah, I want to see here. Let's see if I can show you something in my office. Look at this bear right here. See that? See what the market does. That's Steve right there. That's the bear right there. He's cool. Maybe I should keep the lights on in here. It's better this way. All right, let's see if we reverse here. We pushed up a lot. That's a classy bear. He is classy over there, you know. He is classy. Let's see what we get. Yeah, so apparently they say the court has shifted in recent years to announcing opinions on Friday or later in the day Thursday because they hold non-argument sessions some weeks on those days. To put it another way, they would have been taking the bench anyway today to admit new members to the Supreme Court bar. These non-argument sessions align for the most part with the justices here to meet their private conferences later in the day. A classy bear? So you're saying those don't exist? All right, guys. Supreme Court decision, 18 minutes. We'll see how this affects markets. I don't know. Yeah, the practice of the UK court is to announce a few days in advance. I don't know what to do here. We're getting some wild kind of whipping movement. Now that I'm in my actual funded account, I got to take it a little slow here. I'd love to see the 200 exponential hold, but I also think we could have choppiness leading into this day. So. Do you guys think we'll get the ruling today? Yes or no? Ruling today, yes or no? Where's the timer? Timer is bottom left right now. Got too many lines on my chart. I'm gonna have to cut it out. No, today, not today. No, yes. Yeah, look how sideways the market's acting right now over the last 1, 2, 4, 5. I think there's a chance we see this until the next 15 minutes. There might be some time until the tariff ruling. All right, guys, here we go. Everybody's waiting. Supreme Court always disappoints. Ordered something a month ago. It's up 40%. Should I cover and take my lumps? I'm not an investment professional. I'm not telling you what to do there. Not liable if you lose money. Have no idea what I'm talking about half the time. Don't copy me. With that said, if it was me, I mean, like personally, I would probably cover some of it to protect this. Like that way I can hold it break even if it really goes against me. And you're not having a drawdown, if that makes sense. But that's just me. Not an investment professional. Don't copy me. Yeah, we're still kind of stagnant in markets. Bitcoin did move down. It's now right at 90,000. If you look at Bitcoin right here, it's exactly at 90,000. So again, we'll see what we get. But Bitcoin's right at 90K. Yeah, so again, we're still flat. Silver is right at 79s though. But look at silver. Bitcoin did bounce right at 90,000. Look at that 90K bounce for Bitcoin. Apple's still falling down a little bit. Google's up to 331s at the highs today for Google. Yeah, market's waiting for 10. We're kind of stagnant right now. Mexican president says we will strengthen communication with the U.S. after the president's comments about carrying out ground attacks to combat drug traffickers. He said, I asked our foreign minister to get in touch with the SEC of State, Rubio, and if necessary, speak with the president. All right, guys. So again, we're kind of stagnating here ahead of this report. We'll see if we get anything good today for the tariffs. We'll see. Again, I don't know which way the market wants. I don't know if they want a reversal of the tariffs or they want a confirmation of the tariffs. Okay, so at 10 a.m. today, we could potentially, and again, I say potentially because if it's not in the batch today, we're not going to get it today. But we could, at the earliest today, get the Supreme Court ruling on the president's tariffs, whether they are going to reverse the tariffs and say he exceeded his power, or whether they're going to confirm the tariffs and say they stand. It also sets a precedent for what the president can do moving forward, and so it's relevant to markets, and markets are kind of apprehensive waiting for it as of now. They're very sideways, very choppy. I don't really want to day trade this heavily here. We're just not really getting any movement ahead of this tariff decision in about 12 minutes or so, right? So we just don't really have any movement. It might not be in 12 minutes as well. But so how long does it take to announce a single opinion today? It depends. Sometimes the Justice Alito in particular will summarize a lower profile case in just a few sentences. For a high profile case in which there are multiple opinions, it can take 30 to 40 minutes as well. So just be ready, guys. Yeah, it's very relevant for markets, obviously. Look at the NASDAQ fall down here a little bit. So we finally broke out of this really sideways range that we've been in here. Yeah, again, just be ready, guys. Get potential Supreme Court ruling. About 10 minutes. The NASDAQ has fallen down quickly, though. Let me see if we have any breaking news here. Okay, so Hassett's still speaking. He said alternative tools are ready almost immediately if they reverse the tariffs. The current administration has a backup plan for the tariffs. Look at Hassett's still speaking. Did I say Besant earlier? I might have. Hassett. All right, guys, get ready. 10 minutes here. 10 minutes. I mean, it's a big candle relative to what we've seen. Volatility is showing how much we're going to move if the decision drops. Yeah, I think we're going to move if we get a decision for sure today. Look at Apple breaking down here. And we're still waiting. Bitcoin now under 90,000 here. Silver up to 79 plus. That's a tariff ruling by the Supreme Court, SCOTUS. And again, this is a very relevant decision today, guys, just to put it in perspective. I'm going to go use the restroom real quick just so I can be here for you. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back already. All right, guys. Hey, we got 9 minutes left. 8 minutes, really. Intel is flying up today. It's almost $45 a share. Supreme Court ruling on tariffs. Again, it might not happen today. Just to put this into perspective, guys. Like, just so you understand this, okay? The Supreme Court opinion session starts at 10. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get the answer today regarding these tariffs. We could get it today, but we might not. Again, the Supreme Court starts at 10. The first window a tariff decision could drop, but the justices do not pre-announce which cases are in the batch. The markets know the time, but not whether tariffs are actually going to be decided. All right, so basically there's a chance we do not get them today. But there's a good chance we do as well. And so we might not get them today. We will be watching and waiting, especially at 10 a.m., which is in 7 minutes. 7 minutes. We set the latency to low, meaning there's no lag today on the stream. So, be ready. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Yeah, wash my hands. Uphold tariffs will cause a drop. I'm not sure, honestly. I think we could go either way, to be honest. I think we could uphold the tariffs, and markets could say, yay, there's less uncertainty, and go up. Or I think we could reverse the tariffs, and the markets could also say, hey, we're going to get cheaper things now. You know, less red tape in business. Markets go up. Or we could see the opposite of those two reactions. We could say, hey, they uphold the tariffs, things are going to stay expensive, more red tape, boo, and the markets go down. Or, hey, you know, they keep the tariffs, and things are expensive or whatever. I don't know. It's hard to tell how markets are going to respond to this. White House advisor Hassett says he will accept the job of the Federal Reserve chairman if it's offered to him. Yeah, I had to shake my hands after drying them off. To dry them off, I didn't, you know. Yeah, all good. While you're in the restroom, your dog jumped on the computer and put 50K into Dogecoin. The question is, would I sell it if he did? Which dog? You know, was it Rosie or Bruce? Depends on which dog, really. You know. All right, guys, here we go. NASDAQ is very flat. We kind of retraced that whole big candle that we had on the charts here. 5 minutes. I trust Rosie, you know. If Rosie did it, I'm leaving that position. All right, guys, here we go. 4 minutes. Yeah, we got 5 minutes. 4.5 minutes. Hassett said I would accept the Fed job if offered. Yeah, I would. What I wonder is, why does the Supreme Court not disclose beforehand which ones they are releasing? Like, bro, you're gonna make everybody sit at a computer at 10 a.m. and then not tell them if what they're waiting for is coming out? Terrible procedure. Let us know. Say, yeah, listen, we are going to announce the decision at 10 a.m. Or no, we're not going to announce it. Markets are flat, waiting for this. The question is, if we don't get the report today, what are markets going to do? It is Friday. Per the jobs report, we ain't got no job and we ain't got ish to do but sit around and look for the tariff decision today, guys. Yes, that was a Friday quote. You're welcome. I've overused that joke a million times during labor reports, but hey. Some of you guys know. That's Hassett. How big of a Hassett? All right, guys. You guys ready? We have 3 minutes. 3 minutes. That's right, Faye. You know. Oh, we do have Michigan consumer sentiment at 10 a.m. as well. We'll cover that too. That's an easy cover though. We'll see where the inflation expectations are like for the University of Michigan is what I want to see. Consumer sentiment is expected by the University of Michigan today as well. Yeah, that's in 3 minutes. But again, Michigan consumer sentiment expected at 53.5. Last time was 52.9. So they are expecting it to increase. Last time, 1 year inflation expectations 4.2% and 5 year was 3.2. And so I'll see what the University of Michigan does in that regard as well. Yeah, again, we'll see if we could actually get the tariff decision today, which is a big if. I'm really not sure if we're going to get it or not. You guys ready? If we get it. What will gold and silver do on this report as well? 2 minutes left. 2 minutes, guys. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up to the stream. Yeah, again, there's a big chance we don't get it today. If it's not in the batch today, we're not getting it today. And so there's a chance we don't get it today as well. We'll see what happens though. All right, guys, we got a minute and a half left. All right, guys, 1.5 minutes left or so. 1.5 minutes. All right, here we go, guys. Get ready. Got all our sources for this up. Again, Michigan consumer sentiment drops at 10 a.m. as well today. Less than a minute, guys. Less than a minute. Again, put it in 2x speed. Hit the live button next to the play button. Catch up to the stream. We will see what the tariff decision is today. Again, we have our sources. Again, the president is supposed to use alternative powers if the Supreme Court rules against him, apparently. Yeah, again, I think we're going to get the tariffs regardless. It might just take longer now if we get them, if they're reversed today. Bitcoin back over 90K ahead of this report, and the NASDAQ very flat. Here we go. 20 seconds. $15 seconds. All right, guys. 5 seconds. All right, again, we're going to cover Michigan consumer sentiment and the tariff decision simultaneously if we get it. All right, Michigan consumer sentiment 54 versus 53.5. Inflation expectations increase for 5-year inflation 3.4 versus 3.2 last time and 4.2% 1 year, but 54 for Michigan consumer sentiment, a little bit higher than expected here for that. Again, we're waiting on the tariff decision now. No volatility yet. You'll see some volatility when the tariff decision actually comes out, but who knows when this is going to be. All right, guys, we're waiting here, waiting on the tariffs. Waiting here on the tariff decision. No volatility yet. No volatility yet. A little downward price action here. Again, Michigan data came in higher than expected, stronger than expected. Again, there's no live stream of this. We just have to kind of wait and see if we get any movement here. Yeah, we're still waiting. There's 9 o'clock. Or 10 o'clock. Still waiting here. Yeah, it's a very strange Friday. I mean, this tariff decision's major right now. It's major. From everything I'm seeing, nothing's out yet. And again, you would see the market move if it was out. But we kind of got to sit here and wait. So. Okay, apparently we have only one opinion. Bo versus the U.S. today. And so it's looking like maybe the tariff decision is not going to be coming out today. I don't think we're getting the tariff ruling today. Because we have only one opinion today. It's Bo versus the U.S. Justice Sotomayor. The vote is 5-4 for this one. Bo versus the U.S. is regarding federal prisoners seeking to challenge their sentences. I do not think we're going to get the tariff decision today. Okay, yeah. So again, Supreme Court will not rule on the tariff case today. The only decision was Bo versus something. All right, guys. So, yep. Again, we are not going to be ruling on the tariff case today, unfortunately. Again, no tariff ruling today. So no tariff ruling today, unfortunately. Yeah. I'll put this up on the screen now, but yeah, unfortunately, no tariff ruling today. Why would they tell us this beforehand? Market's still kind of flat for a Friday, though. Again, University of Michigan data came in stronger than expected. But boo this man. No tariff decision today. Like, bro, like, at least tell us this. Yeah, again, we gotta scroll at the bottom. Not tariff ruling today. They're the only one they released today that I see is a Bo versus U.S., which is a case about federal prisoners appealing their conviction sentences. What it looks like. So again, no tariffs on the ruling today. We'll see when the next one is. So we don't know when the next opinion day will be. I'll let you guys know when we do hear of it. Maybe next Friday. Again, maybe next Friday is when we're gonna get the next opinion announcement case potential. So maybe we'll get it next Friday, maybe not. But yeah, they did not rule on the tariffs today, guys. Sorry. So some of you guys recognize the half-baked. Yeah, I mean, hey. Good movies are good movies. Dave Chappelle's always good. Yeah, listen, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Look, check out Top Step if you want to help support the channel. They did not rule on the tariff, you know, on the tariffs today, unfortunately. Only one case was on the docket, and it was not the tariff case. Yeah, again, if you want to check out Top Step, great way to help support the channel. No PDT rule on futures. Next week, we got a whole gang of reports. We got CPI inflation and more dropping next week. So just be ready. Again, dropping next week. We got a lot of stuff going on. Again, potential tariffs decision. Next Friday is what I'm looking at. Next Friday is when we might get a decision. Yeah, we'll see if we hold. So Monday the 12th is when we will be back. We will be back Monday the 12th. I kind of want to short the market right now, though. Let me see if we do. Hey, thanks, Chef. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the love. Hey, thank you, Faye, Steve, Womble, Alex, Lee, 77, guys, Larry, R, Satoshi, O2, Jacob, Drop, Chris, Matthew, Matt, Straight, Lydell, Lindell, Mad, Mantis, everybody else. Sorry, guys. Yeah, but we're not getting the tariff ruling today, unfortunately. I thought we might, maybe we would, but no tariff ruling today, unfortunately, guys. I know, I was supposed to leave 5 minutes ago. I decided to say goodbye to all the people in chat. You're welcome here, guys. You're welcome. Yeah, next week, just to put this into perspective on the what's on watch next week here, guys, just to give you guys some understanding of what we get next week. Next week, we get CPI inflation on Tuesday. CPI inflation, retail sales and PPI inflation on Wednesday. Jobless claims, Empire State manufacturing, Philly Fed manufacturing Thursday. And then Friday, we got a bunch of Fed speakers. And maybe we'll get the tariff decision on Friday. Markets are breaking down here on this report, on the report of no tariff decision today. I mean, yeah. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm actually gonna leave this time. Again, I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Have a great day. Check out Top Step if you want to help support the channel. No PDT rule on futures. Link is pinned to the top of the chat. Great way to learn. They recently lowered their activation fee. Again, we got a big inflation data week next week. Tuesday, CPI inflation. Be here. We'll set the stream to no latency as well. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Appreciate the love. All right. Now I'm actually leaving here. I'll leave you guys with Steve over here. Look. Here's Steve. I had to put myself above Steve. But yeah, y'all be good. Have a